Good
Good
morning.
morning.
And welcome back. How are
I know
you?
it's been 2 whole English weeks.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, lots of rain, a little bit of snow.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I know if we have to shut the curtain at some point because it will be overwhelming the screen, but I just can't block out the sun. It's just like
Yeah, we might
drink.
not have to. We might not have to. Think positive.
But yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. It's like,
Right.
yes, but
You
yeah,
submitted your book.
I submitted my book. I drove it to my mum. And when we got up there, it was like minus something freezing and rain and gales and hail. Drove back down again. And just trying to get the life post book back together. It's funny, isn't it, when you throw yourself into something so completely that's. I really struggle with that balance of like, oh, right, the rest of the world needs attention.
Yeah. But you don't remember how to
Yeah,
do any of the stuff from before. I
yeah,
found that I've had to like reteach myself to do stuff that is like entirely normal, entirely like, balanced. And I'd be
yeah,
like, I'm really sorry. I have no idea what goes into this part of the day because this
yes,
part of the day was just not mine for such a long
yeah,
time. A couple of weeks ago, I had an early night, like I went to sleep early, which rarely happens. And I was still falling asleep thinking, I must have forgotten something because this part of the day is usually full of something that is not
yes.
sleep. And yeah, it was very confusing. Like I
Oh,
went ahead with that, pushed through, pushed through, fell asleep like a hero. But my goodness, it was confusing. We've
yeah.
got some lovely greetings. Moon Moggy John says hi first here. I can
Morning.
that was the first one that came in. Colleen, your horsey friend, is
Morning,
good
Colleen.
morning. And Simeon is saying a quick hello and good morning to you as I'm at work. Hope you have a wonderful day with a horsey emoji. And another horsey emoji comes from Sandy Black, who says,
I'm training everybody very well here.
I know that's really
Morning, Sandy.
incredible. And it's so spiritual because if I had to train anybody, it would without a doubt be like once I got over the need to get people to put the poop emoji, it would be like the pizza or the pasta, one or the other.
I think I'd be a bit upset if we kept putting poop emojis on the messages. We'd be like, oh.
Exactly. A little bit disappointing. But we've got a good balance from Sandy. We've got a horsey and a crystal ball.
Morning. That's
Good
lovely.
friends. So what old new things are you incorporating into your life? Presumably sleep.
Cleaning. I was like, oh, that's how you do it. I mean, to be fair, that's never been something I've been very good at. So I'm just gonna but
No.
actually just business, work, balance. Yeah, I'm not very good at balance. I can just throw myself into things fully, and then it's the next thing I find, and it's just like that's not really that great. Let's just try and find some balance.
It's not. But
Not
I
great.
feel like we're so lucky because when you are somebody who's, a little bit extra, the fact that we can have this as a career, as like a whole entire full-time career, I feel so lucky. I
Yes,
think
me
if
too.
I had to, if I had to work like a real job, it's not just God has helped me, but God has helped everybody around me.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Just doesn't fit. I was reading something earlier about like this is a bit about the work regime and that schools and works and that they're not there to make people be free and to think differently or to kind of they're there to get everyone kind of more placid. And I agree, not schools as much. I think schools are amazing, but like the fact that we kind of think, well, that is a normal work routine, but it is really good, but it doesn't suit everyone's nature, does it? It doesn't suit everyone's nature, and we still kind of feel like, oh, you're you look at you and you're self-employed person. Most people I know that are self-employed work about 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
They don't have the stop off. And sometimes I think maybe I could just go back in and do a different job just to give my brain a break. But I know that it would just be bad for everybody, like you're
Oh,
saying.
yeah. No, because you'll come back. If you had a 9 to 5, you'd be home at 5:30, have a
Yeah.
cup of tea, and paint something for an Etsy page, or
Mm-hmm.
or support people who are trying to do the same. It's what you're saying about like regular jobs, I really see that at home because my partner is in a sort of regular job. It's just the inflexibility where, people move to working from home. Suited some, didn't suit others. Fine. So when circumstances changed, some people went back to the office or found jobs that were in the office. Some people remained with a abundance of working from home jobs that exists now that didn't exist 5 years earlier. But they've got some thing happening in the office. I don't know. I don't ask too many questions because as I explained, I feel guilty when I sleep. So
It's
they've got
problematic.
so they've got to be in the office a lot more in like April and May. And he was like, look, I've been trying to fight it. Do you need for me to quit? And I'm like, no, this is, it's really, really okay as long as it's okay for you. Why? And he's like, yeah, no, for no reason. They think it would be a good idea. So the fact that you've got no flexibility, where at least when you're self-employed, you might be busy all the time, but you know what you have? Flexibility.
Yes, absolutely. And you can go, it's sunny today. I'm going to go out now and I'll do the work later. For most part, but not always, but
Yeah, no, it's working in the middle of the night is so my personality. Even when I was a soldier, I used to do whatever I could in the night and then like sleep because I was in charge of my own like little role. I didn't have to report to anyone. Well, I behaved as if I didn't have to report to anybody. The army doesn't really work that way. But I would work like it's a lot more me to work very, very late at night and then sleep in the morning when it's possible.
Yeah.
And that was magical. That was brilliant for me. So now as self-employed, when I can work really, really late at night and then have, a slightly more chilled morning or go running at 11 in the middle of the day, it suits. Whereas in like a regular job, it would have been frowned upon. Where are you going? Why are you so sweaty? It's my 11 a.m. run. What?
That's what I do.
So, yeah.
I think when I was a soldier is such a great sentence to drop in. When I was a soldier, I'm like, yeah.
Does not play well with others. If I don't operate well in like a regular job, just imagine what I was like as a soldier. Imagine
you'd win a few wars, but I don't think
with the commander. Yeah, no, it was not exactly the perfect fit for my personality, but I made it fit. I made everybody sort of work around it. I've got a fabulous message from Colleen saying, yes, I hear you. I work a regular job.
Yeah.
My other job.
Definitely. I've done that for sure.
Yeah.
For many years.
That's how we all start, sort of doing the regular job so that the little job on the side would grow and become big. Moon Moggy Jones says, sunny here too. Yeah. Nelda is saying good morning. Nelda, very early where you are. Andres says, hello, my beautiful spiritual sisters and family.
Morning.
And John says, better now and 3 weeks behind work. Were you poorly, John?
Yes, I think he was pretty poorly. Yes.
Yeah. Saying, I'm self-employed, amazing, and Visible Black is saying morning. Any relation to Sandy Black?
No, I know. No, they're not.
They're not.
But it's quite cool. We have two of the maybe extended Black family on the.
Yeah, it could be some distant cousins. But I really wanted to talk about something that I think a lot of people will be interested about as well. But it's something that, because I want to ask you like as personal questions, how do you do it? How do you do it? I wanted to talk about psychic protection, psychic self-defense, because I know that you are like a hero of mine. Like for years, you're avoiding the news as much as possible. You're avoiding interactions that would drag you down. people that would drag you down. No, I think it's really, really important. So I know that for me, I'm okay on the people. I'm very good. Like the block button is one of my closest associates. I block liberally, but
that'd be a great T-shirt slogan, I think.
I block liberally, or
block liberally.
the block button. Yeah, no, I'm a real life block button. You know, I've fired people for friends. Back in the London scene days, there was, I don't know if it's still going on, there was a very long running group called the Secret Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
Which changed name. I think it had like a different name before. And then anyway, but the Secret Chiefs had a chap who was the presenter and a chap who was running it. The chap who was the presenter is no longer with us, so we're not going to say anything negative about it. It was a very, very awesome person in many ways, but also a real life block button himself. And the person who was running it was at the time my partner. And they did not see eye to eye. And it actually ended up being me that had to sort of step in and go, listen, it would be so much better if you just didn't present it anymore. And it was really a mystery to me why nobody else said it. Anybody? Any? Why are you not saying? Because
welcome to England. Why is everyone so quiet and looking really pissed off?
Why the silences, people? Why the silences? Wake up. Tell to him that he will be much better, that everybody will be getting along much, much better if he just stepped down. And it was fine. And nobody was annoyed with me. That's the thing. I didn't feel like anybody was annoyed with me. It was a job. Yes. And then years before, my friends in Greece, so they used to hire like a room. They're twins, identical twins, so gorgeous. But they used to hire a room, and then whoever would sort of come and visit from their many, many friends would kind of stay with them. But then friends of theirs would come and stay with them, and then friends of friends would come and stay with them until there was some chap that nobody wanted. And again,
no one knew.
Everyone knew that no one wanted him there. He had a fair idea, but it was a free place to stay. So again, it fell to me to sort of take him to one side, and by one side, I mean the middle of the living room at like 5 a.m. and say to him, listen, you're going to have to find a new place to stay because they're paying the rent here and they're not happy with you being here. And again, I know that people would feel disappointed if it's said to them, but I didn't feel like anybody was turning against me or sort of, you know, or I don't know, worried that I would suddenly turn on them or anything like that. I really recommend it. I really recommend the human block button. But yeah, but for me, I really look up to you. So I love it's true. So I would never fire you or kick you out of literally anywhere. No, I would clone you and put two of you in each place. But yeah, I would love for us to chat about psychic protection, psychic self-defense, and kind of where it crosses over to real life as well. So look at John jumping on. Please don't block me. I harm none. If I show you the people that I liberally block, you're not going to feel like you're even from the same species of person. I you know, without pulling a victim card, I'm Jewish. I get a lot of hate speech online. So block, not a problem. Goodbye. I don't even take it to heart. But I wouldn't have thought, John, that if you had something particularly nasty to say to me, you wouldn't have said it already.
Exactly. And I think you said something really important there about taking it to heart. I think that's when when like things get damaging. It's like having that kind of that it's a lot of self-work to not take everything to heart, isn't it? Especially probably for everybody, if you're sensitive or very British or just very intuitive and psychic, if you know, or you have got a lot of unresolved stuff, which we all have, that when someone says something, it just goes and then it becomes an issue. And then that's the interesting thing about psychic or any kind of human. People sort of say psychic attack, but anyone can do it, and people often do it through gossiping, through kind of lots of weird learnt behavior. And it's when that gets into another person, that's when it becomes something that's really hard to deal with, isn't it? And that's sometimes we become aware of the things that maybe are those, say, trigger buttons, or those things that are, and not saying to separate yourself from it, but like maybe separate yourself from it while you're healing that, and then see if you can deal with it a bit more later. I think you say, like, having that strength to go, that's not going into my system at all, is such a brilliant thing, isn't it? To go, nope, off you go.
Yeah, but you know, I actually feel like the ability to do that makes you a much better psychic. Do you know what I mean? Because then you're sitting in front of someone and you know that you're going to tell them something potentially devastating, or potentially that if somebody said that to you, it would be devastating. I would say something like, you know, a love separation, not even to mention like illness and stuff like that. But let's say love separation as an example, because we have to say that a lot.
Yes.
And when you are too sympathetic, is it sympathetic? When you're inside that emotion, when you're very sympathetic and you feel like you're about to devastate somebody, then you might hold back as a, you know, as a new psychic or as a sort of overly sympathetic person, and you might be tempted to sugarcoat things. Whereas if you're able to just sort of stay in the empathy and and I think faith plays a big part in it, because you want to have faith that the right message is coming to that person at the exact moment they need to hear it. And it's always a relief, isn't it, when you say it to them and you kind of brace yourself and they're like, oh yeah, I really thought that's what you were going to say. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. And maybe by being oversympathetic or trying to think, well, if I heard this, I'd be devastated, you're kind of diluting the message or getting in the way of the message. You think, oh, I don't want to hear that, but then it's not my life. It's not my
Yeah, exactly. And you know, soon it's not going to be their life either, because the focus in a reading is like, it's so fun when you look at the future and how great things will be once that waste of space is out of your life forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. I get really excited about that. And then you see the other person just going, I'm really excited. They're like,
yeah. Do you know, that's, I think, like recording a reading is so good for that, because you kind of lean to the recorder and you say, it's a little too soon for you to hear that now because of all the devastation. But
I know
when
not
we
today,
look at,
but
when we look at next year. So Sandy is calling it bounce back ability. And that is really, really right. You're seeing
completely
the psychic attack, you're seeing the personal attack. Sometimes they're personal attacks. And you're seeing it, acknowledging it, bouncing back from it.
No, it's really, really, I think it's a good life skill, isn't it? You know, it's not just for sort of psychic work. It is important for psychic work, but it is a really good life skill, especially when you're spending so much time absorbing so much media. Like we're bombarded by it. You know, you can't go anywhere without a beep going off or something like that. And having that ability to just go, whoa, step back, like how you say you'd mute a notification. That's kind of psychic protection as well, isn't it? Is many ways like muting things that actually this is not my dance space.
Yeah,
this is not my dance space. This is my dance space.
Yours. Exactly. So I've got almost all notifications muted completely. So if an Instagram message comes in, I don't see it. If an Instagram post by someone I follow goes on, I don't even know if that's available as an option for my phone to report to me, because I disabled stuff so early on. I've got to switch phones. I've got like a phone waiting for me to switch. So I'll find out.
I've got to shut the curtain, haven't I?
A little bit, or maybe like just move the screen. But yeah, I've got no Facebook notifications whatsoever. See, beautiful. And we have the
Morgan's wanted to be on the screen, didn't she? She was like, yes.
It works for me. I've got no messenger notifications at all. So I check in a few times a day. And then on the other phone, because there's two of them, on the other phone, I've got a WhatsApp just buzzy notification, not like a sound. And every once in a while, you know, I'll accidentally, like in the pocket, put the sound back on. And then I'm completely shocked completely shocked. When did you learn to talk? Completely shocked. I don't even know what my ringtone is. But that was really, really necessary for me as a sort of as a mental barrier, as a
Yes.
mental self-defense, because how constant the buzzing is it's excessive. It's excessive for me. I can't process it.
No, I don't think anyone can. It's sort of changing our brains so that we do. And I don't want to be changed that way. Thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's also like re-educate yourself that I don't have to. It's funny in the last, 10, 15 years, we've just become a bit re-educated in how we have to interact in daily life.
Yeah, and how we absorb and process. And it's not necessarily for the worse. I love technology. I love progress. But yeah, it's different each time. And you know what kind of helps me? I spread people across the different mediums. So the majority of my interaction with kind of friends and colleagues is on Instagram. The vast majority of like my work and clients is on email. I use WhatsApp only for like specific things and specific people. And on Messenger, it's literally just you.
Yay!
And Sylvia, the lady who taught me how to read tarot, and I keep it specifically because those are the messages that I want to check in on, that I'm excited to check in on, that I will reply to immediately because it's, because it's not like work, because it's like a joy.
Cat meme, probably for me.
Exactly. Yeah, or a jelly escaping from its pan. Visabel is saying, interesting to hear her both talk about psychic self-defense. I have thought of reading the Dion Fortune book for a while. Do you guys recommend it?
You got it there?
No, I've got this one. Ooh. Have I got? Why don't I have psychic self-defense? I think that's the only Dion Fortune I have.
Which one's that? Which one's? I've only got her fiction books actually, which isn't really fiction. It's applied magic aspects of it. Oh, cool. Yeah. I said with the fiction books, they are basically magic in a story, so it's
exactly.
Fiction.
Yeah, I think I've got the fiction. Is the Sea Priestess hers?
Sea Priestess and Moon Magic, yeah. And which one? The Sea Priestess is based on near here, the Green Down, which is quite near here. And I've been to the place where she describes that it's all set, and it's unfortunately it's like a war barrack now, so it's not quite as glamorous as she described it in the story, but it's still really epic power play. So yeah,
amazing. We've got a really good comment from.
We recommend it about the self. I'm just going to say I recommend definitely reading any books about that and get some tips from any of them. I mean, obviously Dion Fortune is a really freaking good magician, so yes, I would recommend it, but also don't have to take it all on. It could just be good to get ideas that you could kind of integrate into your life if they speak to you. I mean, we can talk about what we think about self-defense, because if my thought just briefly is sometimes if we get obsessed with psychic self-defense, it can almost create situations that aren't what we want.
Yeah, where you won't get the messages that you need to be getting, and you won't make the progress that you need to be making. But when you're saying to sort of read anything for tips, I think this is exactly where the fiction books come into their own, because they will not just give you like the tips, but they will describe how it is in actuality.
And you can't say that in a fact book, can you? People go, well, that's a load of crap. But if you say it in fiction, people go, oh, wow. And we're like going, yeah, that's how it works.
Absolutely. I think I must have incorporated more stuff from like movies and things than from like coven work. But in fiction also, you get to like observe an example of what that protection technique will show up at in real life. Whereas in a book that's like tips and lists and stuff, you don't get the full vibe of what it will prevent, of what it can sort of protect you against. But yeah, why don't I have psychic self-defense? How come I don't have psychic?
I don't have it. I've got a different one. I've got a different book.
Yeah, I'm very confused. I also cannot find the Sea Priestess. at present, but in the
Walk
near
out.
future. In the
Yes.
near future, I know that this is not my most flattering angle, so I'm trying
Oh, you're
to.
always gorgeous. No, you're gorgeous. Totally.
I found that this angle presents more chins than I care to possess.
You
So
see one
yeah,
chin.
yeah.
One chin.
one we're working on it being one, but yeah, so really good point from Mostly Zen saying hi there. Technology heightens my
Mm,
ADHD.
I
The
reckon it
constant
is.
It's the constant buzzing, but also it's the constant gratification, isn't it? Because my ADHD friends on the whole can really fall into addiction very easily. And there
Mm,
is something about technology that can be super, super addictive. And that's really where flight mode is a great friend, even if it feels really awkward. And that's where silencing notifications.
yeah.
My dad's a Virgo. He's the most chilled out person I know. He's like, instead of understanding what Virgos are like, you just have to spend a day with him. Yeah, just
Yeah.
a day will be fine. And his phone never stops buzzing, and it doesn't kill his vibe at all.
Wow. That's
He
impressive.
carries on. Yeah, he does. He's driving. He's not even looking at the messages coming in. I have to put
Mm,
the phone in the boot
to make sure you don't look at it.
to make sure that I don't look towards it, which is, so I don't use the Google Maps. I have to use like a separate sat
Oh,
nav, right? Because there's just no way.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think, like you say, it has to do with how much of an empath you are. Um, so that's from the technology side. On the
Mm.
practical side, what kind of things do you recommend for self-defense?
Um,
Yeah.
it's quite funny because I like doing things that create an object that I can work with in that way. Like I've got a literal shield,
Yeah.
Viking shield, which I painted and everything like that. And for me to have something which is imbued with that energy that I can visualize. I'm a very visual person, so everyone will take different things. If they're, not a visual person, it'll be different. But so I can visualize and implement, which works really well. So it's not just actual objects, but that really does help as an extra. But I really work with a lot of visualization of, and you taught me the first psychic self-defense visualizer. I still use it on with the blue ribbon, the purpley blue ribbon that we use.
Oh,
And I still
yeah.
use that if I'm feeling, wait a minute, as need to kind of just clear out and reject some of this stuff. And just really working on, for the house, you can use visualizations which can clear and protect the house, which I think is a really good thing. Or sometimes I invite guardians to come in and to hang out and to protect the space. But also things, just really simple daily things like visualize it, or when you're having a shower, you can visualize it's clear, you're having an actual clean, but you're visualizing it all kind of coming off you, etherically, all it's gone. So you can do a lot of visuals with daily activities that are actually helping you clear out. And I find that little rituals like that, which you're just doing, you're going to do that anyway, hopefully. And it can help. And then when you're getting dressed, you can visualize that item or that piece of jewelry being a protection around you, and you can imbue it with that energy. And the more times you do that, it becomes more magical. So I think it's those little personal rituals that set you up to be in a good space for all of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Simple stuff. It's not extra high magic. It's just really simple day to day.
Yeah, but I think that kind of makes it so much more like old pagan societies where you'd have like the little things that protect
Yeah.
you. I always like to start with a black and white crystal. I think, if you're going to have like no altar, just a couple of crystals in the handbag, you want black and you want white. And I love the two of them. And I love the two colors in the floor of the high priestess.
Oh yeah.
Right? We've got like the checked black and white floor, which is the same as what I hear the flooring is in Masonic lodges.
Yeah.
And that kind of the black and the white are so such a magical combination in, I think, like more, I'm gonna do the air bunnies traditional Wicca. You'd have like a black and white candle on your altar as this sort of altar candles. And oh, that's really funny. So even though I find it really repulsive in many ways to sort of give one gender one color and then the other gender like the exact opposite color, there's so much problematic with it. But using black and white just as opposites of anything, light and dark, night and day, is really, really beautiful. But the black and white crystals for me, so the not just crystals, like bits of what do you call volcanic, like shungite and stuff like that. So the white ones just exude the light and have like all the different colors in them, and then the black ones will work hard for you and absorb the negativity. And between the two of them, you've got one holding onto the front, one holding onto the back, and they just carry you. So right, it just blew my mind. I don't know why the high priestess in my imagination has a black and white floor, because she
it's absolutely black and white side, isn't it?
Yeah. So she's got, but I'm thinking, do I have the black and white floor in another deck?
Maybe you do, yeah.
Maybe. And as I was scrolling, I found these guys.
Yay! Dudes. Yeah. I love the black and white. It's such polarity in, obviously, it's an obvious polarity, but in the tarot, it's used so much, isn't it, as well, which is really, it's a good visual.
Yeah. And I think I like sort of sensing things. I'm a very sensy person. I never know whether sensuous or sensual means sexy or to feel things, so I'm not going to use the words because I don't know which is the right one. Also true, but irrelevant. But I like a bit of incense going. I like a bit of essential oils, light a little candle. Beauty about using like a diffuser is that the candle is already in there. The incense thing, I don't know why this is here.
Ow.
I know.
That's some kind of psychic protection. It might banish me.
I'll keep that in mind if that ever became a problem. But sort of people go, what do I use for protection? What do I use to bring in luck? And I go, anything. There's different colors that mean different things. But the moment that you're kind of connecting with the other side, the moment that you're making kind of an open-hearted, honest connection with the spirits of the land, or with although no candles outdoors, guys and gals, or with different deities, they'll want to protect you. They'll want to be on your side. Who else is honoring them in this mystical-less day and age? So any kind of connection that you make with the other side, if you're at all at a loss sort of what candle to burn, the one you've got, the one you can reach for, burn that one. It's not going to bring you bad luck. You're not going to approach an altar with positive intent and it'll end up bringing negative intent. Sometimes can be a little bit wonky, but it's not going to curse you when you're coming in to kind of to bless you.
Yeah, people get very afraid that they're doing it wrong and everything going wrong, and even though that's a good, it's good to get it right as much as you can, but when needs must, do the thing. Do the thing with that intention. The thing needs doing, do it. Don't worry too much about how it's got to look. Do the thing, because your power, your desire to make something happen will be stronger than the maybe not perfect surroundings.
And having blessed things around you, having blessed thoughts, will create an entire like ethereal body that will protect you, because you're born with protection. You're born with an aura the job of the aura is manifold, but one of the things it does is protect you. When you go around in a completely dark room and you approach a wall, if you go slow enough, you won't go all the way into the wall. Your aura will sense it. Your aura is there in, in a relatively real way. Maybe not a real way, but in a relatively real way.
No, it's exactly. You say the mysticalist world, we kind of have to have it real or not real, don't we? And actually, there's many degrees and dimensions of all of that, as people on this channel will obviously know. I was thinking, if you're looking in a dark room and looking at your phone, you will walk into the wall, and that's the thing, isn't it? Of like being so in that distraction that you're not aware of the surroundings or not in that space. And I think, like you're saying, and it's interesting about the aura. It's a really fascinating thing. I haven't really thought about it, in that way. And that I remember someone showed me when I was about 20. This is your aura on drugs.
Oh, wow.
And it stayed with me forever,
No, what is it like? Is it smaller?
No, it had holes and dark, and it's just like it was diagrams, like it was just on, but you just go, yeah, but I get that. Like, here's your, not on like, not on herbal remedies, but on things that are kind of chemically and like that kind of thing. And it was showing me different auras in a diagram, and she just showed it me, and it stayed with me for like the last 20 years. Like, yeah, that makes sense. That sometimes you can, that these sorts of things can affect us, not just drugs, but different things, and it can put us holes in. And that's when that's when you feel like things start to spiral a bit sometimes. And I kind of, it was a really interesting thing, and I hadn't thought about it for a while until you said that. Like, but it's a natural protective thing. We need to sort of nourish it with as much goodness as we can, isn't it? Really, it's not saying don't.
Because the ethereal body and the ethereal body and the physical body run along the same kind of lines.
Yes.
They'll protect each other, or they'll, soak away stuff from each other if they're a little malnourished. But when you're honoring and feeding your physical body, that also blesses your ethereal body. When you're honoring and nourishing your ethereal body, that also blesses your physical body. And if, so you're a visual person, so you need sort of visualization. I need to sense things. I need to taste them. But even if you do only a little bit, that's still like a whole lot more than not doing stuff, even a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got some messages. Kim Princess says that's a good idea with the jewelry.
Yeah, it's a really lovely thing to do. You can dedicate it to something as well. Like, you could dedicate it to a deity, to a guide, or to a ritual or an intention. And it's a really lovely thing that every time you put it on, you're like, yep, that is that energy. I did a healing for a lovely lady at the weekend, and we had dragons coming into it, and they really liked her necklace, And I was like, do you mind if I, because they're going to get, I was like, this is now your dragon necklace, by the way. And she was like, oh, wow. Like, she loved it. But now she could put it on and go, that dragon energy is here when I put it on. So it was just a really a great thing to do with something you already love or already have.
Yeah. There's actually, I'm going to skip a few messages. I'll come back to you. But Kim says, do you wear jewelry even if you're not going out? And then then jump to correct her typo. I appreciate that. Very nice. But I not a lot, but just in terms of symbolism and what it imbues, I wear these fellas all the time. I'm a married lady. And even though I hope that it no longer symbolizes a husband's ownership over a lady, that to me is imbued not just with all the love, this is imbued with all the heartbreak and all the magic spells and all the intensity. Hey, I thought you were in a meeting. No.
Hello.
Dara says hi. And all the different stages that this represented. And so that is one thing that is on me the whole time. And before that, I used to wear a silver ring with a big quartz, rose quartz on it, which is what I believe had brought me that. So this finger has got like a long history of what I view as very effective magic.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, I used to wear rings a lot all the time, but I go through, but actually it's more a necklace I'll probably have on most of the time. I usually have a necklace on. I mean, not always, but also to be fair, these guys are always in.
It's all the time.
And that was a decision. Like this was a decision to have something that would signify my journey, and it would be there in, you know, it doesn't come out, it's always there. Even though a couple of horses yesterday bopped me on the nose, and it was almost a disaster. I got proper nose bopped yesterday. I was like, but apart from that, so yeah, that's always there. So there's something, it's a body jewelry in that is there all the time. And the only reason I don't have other jewelry on all the time is I do get irritated by things. Like it annoys me. So I like things that are just comfortable, that are there, that I know are there, and that could be magical for me. Yes.
Did you ever get, so I used to have a tongue ring when I started doing readings, and I would have to take it out, which was not sexy, midway through a reading because it was kind of interfering with my flow. So I ended up just, just leaving it out. Do you ever get like a, take everything off feeling?
Yeah, not body jewelry though. That's been, I forget it's there until someone mentions it. And a belly ring is fine, and just small things on my, yeah, things like rings sometimes, like off. I get that off. Yeah, that's maybe things around my hands. It's kind of often a bit like, no, it's yeah. So that often, if it's maybe interferes, I don't know, something interferes there, so I take it all off. So when I'm doing a reading, I just take off the rings as well. It just feels like I've got a space for them. I don't know why. It's just, yeah, like you said, maybe it's blocking of some kind. Or
yeah, that is interesting. So we've got a few more messages. If you guys want to share your ways of self-defense and so on, please do not hesitate. Woo Rider says, hello from Northeast Florida. Tell us what the weather is like there. John says, you're wearing black and white. I suppose I was looking for something really pale, and that's the palest, the palest thing I could
bright.
find.
I can only see the screen, to be honest, but I'm just, I see wearing black. I don't know.
It's like a black lace thing, and it's got like a cream thing underneath. Hand me down, love a hand me down. John says, Hecate have been contacting me. Must be coming to a crossroads. You must be in the crossroads.
This is your lady to speak to.
Yeah, no, we love the lady. But yeah, Hecate has been coming to you. Tell us when. Tell us how. With like dogs, with like torches, with like, visions in the night. And got twisted saying, good morning, lovely ladies. Morning.
Oh, good, lots of mornings. Yes.
Fabulous.
I haven't had first breakfast, just learned second breakfast. It's got a.
Oh no!
I think second breakfast is a state of mind, though.
It's true. It's true. A mid-morning snack. So we looked at some. Oh, thank you. We looked at some ways to keep psychic self-defense in the real world. Psychic self-defense in ritual.
Yeah, doing things like sound as well, like rattling, bells, drumming. That'll get rid of some stuff. And then also you can use both those things for clearing and also building energy as well. So it's experimenting with different things, and it's using, obviously, as we all know, like using your intention alongside that sound is such, and using your voice. If you haven't got any tools, I know some witches that shout, that swear, and tell everyone to get out, F off, spirits, why not? But using your voice as projection of self to clear the space or to bless the space, because that's just absolutely, the more you bless a space, the less likely something naff is going to get in. And if it is in, then you're going to feel it straight away and know where to do with it. So it's using sound and intention is a really great way of doing it as well.
Yeah, and you sing. Is it something that's always been sort of very blessing or very releasing?
Yeah, it is. I think maybe over the last few years I realised it. I didn't really realise as much the power of it, and I've been using it with healings, and I felt a bit of a twit at first. You feel like, oh my God, they're going to be like, why is she's a bit awkward, like she's singing? But I've just learned just to go with it, that when something comes up to be released or blessed, I've had people also say to me how transportive it was for them to have that experience. Because where else do you get where someone that spends time focusing on you and there's a song or something that comes out that is for you, that is to work with you? And generally people have gone, oh, wow, that just helped transport me. So you kind of do feel a bit of a knit sometimes if you're just going to, because singer just kind of release something that wants to come out, but as a whole people do really appreciate that they feel it as well, so it's selfish not to sometimes.
Uh-huh. That's really nice. I feel that tidying, which is not a hobby of mine nor something I find
What's that,
natural.
sorry?
And also tidying and also cleaning
Yeah.
are really liberating spiritually and mentally. And when you're not somebody that sort of finds it natural, it really is hard to sort of get yourself doing it. But the beauty of it is that the more you tidy like one corner of a room, like not an entire room, and I can't even sort of contemplate a whole corner, but when I do like a little bit, then the next corner will be much easier because my energy is lifted.
Yeah,
And
I did that this morning. Yeah, so again, we're not the most, obviously, to everyone that's watching in, we're always tidy. We're not obviously the most people that are in that know, but I started a little bit and it was like, okay, this whole space needs clearing. And then I looked at the rest of it and like, well, no, and I kind of want to now. And it's like,
yeah,
it takes me a long while to get into that space. But once I do it, you feel, like you said, you just feel that, oh, thank God.
yeah, the tidying and cleaning TikToks really help because you see the before and the after just like a few seconds apart, so it sells you that very false illusion that it will be as quick and effortless, and it's really not. But that kind of side by side shows the kind of lifting of the energy, so it's easy to sort of let things go to seed little by little, but by little by little. It's quicker to reverse, but then I think the challenge really is in maintaining, which is
Yes.
not nowhere near as natural as it should be.
Nope.
It's funny that we don't have like any gods and goddesses for tidying. Do you think it's just our generation has too much stuff and
Maybe. I do think the hearth goddesses might have been like the house goddesses, because they were, or the ones that we don't remember because they were local goddesses of the home, of like little,
maybe?
maybe, because I mean, again, brooms and witchy things, our hoovers are our
Yeah,
new brooms. You
yeah.
visualize, I'm being witchy, I'm being brooming and hoovering.
Yeah, so you've got like hygiene for
Mm,
cleanliness, which is, important. And you've got Hera for the hearth. And
Hestia, yeah, Hestia.
I was trying to sort of remember what Vesta.
Vesta
But
and they were really old, aren't they? I mean, I know that's a silly thing to say. Of course, they're really old.
but they're like, OG generation. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw this thing that kind of had links back to those Hestia that went back to versions of them which were, Ice Age kind of.
Wow.
And it was like there was this. I got really excited when I found this article about mammoth huts, made out of mammoth bones.
Wow.
Loved it. And then in that, they'd found by the hearth fire there, they'd found a little box buried by the hearth with these little deities or ancestors in them that are like how old. And it's just, and it kind of was like linking different hearth deities or hearth protectors throughout. It was just like so exciting for my geeky brain.
Yeah, that is exciting. It's a couple of years ago, I thought I'm going to sort of start getting better at tidying. So I picked up a couple of books in the bookstore about tidying, or about the sort of keeping the home neat. And in both of them, the first few pages were dedicated to throwing stuff out. And I was like, well, by not buying the book, I'm already implementing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think witchy folk are very good at throwing stuff out or not holding on to
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
Like
That's my problem.
I think for our community, I'm like a really, really good recycler and non-shopper. A lot of things are secondhand, and I only have, I don't know, it's fewer than 10 decks of tarot.
Wow,
And
that's impressive.
right. So
That's really
I think I'm not doing that badly. Probably have no more than maybe 30 crystals overall. It's the same ones that I've always had. I've always had the one Athame, the same Athame for years and years. But even so, you know, it's still a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I think I realised with the witchy stuff that it was the stuff that I originally bought or made that is still the power things. And so yeah, I still got the same Athame, same wand. I've got others, but they don't get used. So it's that just told me stop. You don't need it anymore because you're not using them. You know?
Yeah.
I'm being told off by the queen of the house, by the way. If you can hear some,
I could hear her. Yeah, she's early.
I know she's like the times change a bit. Like it used to be 50 minutes, now it's 45 minutes. It's like
some days you need an early lunch.
She's like, so I've not even had breakfast. She's on about a third breakfast. Old lady privileges, that's what it is.
Absolutely. And you know, when we were saying about how sometimes you need to kind of relearn stuff. So for I don't know, about 7 years, I barely touched like my witchy things at all, from, you know, birth of first baby, not quite birth of first baby, because I still sort of went to a couple of local public rituals here with first baby, but with two babies, really out of the question. And I still worked, like I still gave readings, but I didn't really do anything for me. And the way to slide back into it was I would do like the folding of laundry. I would do the folding of laundry while listening to Wiccan music on my phone as a background. And it took quite a few weeks of that for me to sort of really find myself again, because it was all songs I used to know. It's all songs that I used to sing terribly, you know, in public. I really have a very offensive voice when I try to turn it musical. But I would sing along with those little songs, and that would sort of, that reconnected me to that part of myself.
That's lovely.
It was so amazing. It was, you know, that part was like really neglected. So I'd be like sort of doing the little song. So I'd be like, Isis is started, Diana, me to Kylie. Hey, Nana. And, you know, I've never even had much relationship with Nana, but I probably worshipped her in those few weeks more than anything. So
I love that.
Thank you. But really, sort of anything you do, even the littlest thing, it all adds up, it all counts. So
I think it means more in those times, doesn't it, as well? Like you remember that, like you've sung that song countless times in ritual, but that's a time, you know, where it did something for you in a really beautiful way. Like it brought you back. It's really nice.
It really did. I was like, oh, look at that sound. That is familiar. Oh, that is me. That is my personality, where I find it again.
No, that's really, power songs.
Yeah. And it was like an American melody change. So there would be sort of some songs that I didn't know. So it was sort of really exciting to learn them from week to week. And it was very soothing. And whoever put that together as a 1 hour chain of songs on YouTube, no background image, no nothing.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Whoever did that, thank you. And my little life hack that I do now, because I can be sort of really lazy if I let myself, I do a new moon ritual every new moon, where it's kind of for me, but I invite whoever wants to join for a small fee to sort of read all your manifesting in my ritual. And usually a few people will join. And that means that I have to do the new moon ritual, because now it's work. And of course, if it's work, there's no way I will miss it. And so then then I'll cleanse, and then the which I mean 100% spiritually, it can be sort of pretty messy, but then I'll cleanse by salt and by water, by air and by fire. Then I'll invite the goddess and the god here. There'll be a circle raised, there'll be elements, and then I feel like the house at least sort of get the house and me in it at least sort of get one big monthly blessing. Which
I think
is
it's like usually you'd have maybe, you know, when we used to have covens, you mean, you know, that would mean we would have to do it because it was coven time. And without that, we can all be a bit like,
I mean, you know, it's going to be full again in a couple of weeks. So I could do it then if I get off the sofa.
Yeah.
We've just got a few more messages before we run out of time. So
just a few more messages, Starla. A
few more moments, Starla. Because I feel the same. I'm like, my lunchy. John says, I connected with Hecate in the center of a roundabout years ago.
From yes.
Sometimes she speaks to me. I need to meditate and find out what she wants. Yeah, I really think if you're already sort of getting the signs, then you're already there. She's not telling you that she's coming. She's go put the kettle on. She's not gone anywhere. Visabel loves the Hoover broom.
Baby.
Diane says, I made a dragon eye from the 21 lessons of Merlin book. It's just made out of clay, but it's been very effective protection for me. That's very you, isn't it?
Oh, I love that. Dragon eyes, yes. I love that thing to make yourself as well. Again, doesn't have to be you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just the fact you've made something, which is your energy. It's, again, that's really witchcraft in itself. Obviously, when we're looking at witchcraft historically, there wasn't any shops. Everything you created, every charm was handmade. And actually, it's like we were saying about not many goddesses of housekeeping. But I think, like, you know, the act of witchcraft creates that invitation of energy of magic in everyday things, and everything's so easy to buy off cheapy shops nowadays. It's which is wonderful. I'm not moaning. It's just that when you can make something, you're going to love it so much more. You're going to love it.
Yeah. Is your wand one that you made?
It's one that I made, and it's the one that we found on the first ritual I did with you back on Primrose Hill. Do you remember? And I found a twig then, and I picked it up, and I went home, and it's so simple. And there's loads of other ones, and I have made other since, and it just doesn't have that. That was obviously carried years of love.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I've got the first one that I made is still my wand. It's still what comes out. And Sandy says, I literally just found a clear quartz crystal. I thought I lost. Let's do a find a crystal dance.
I love crystals go on adventures, don't they? They go off wandering and they go, hi, I'm back. You're like, oh, right, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Where did you come back from? And Steve says, is this actually live? And if so, from what country?
The UK, England. Yeah,
it is
live.
It's really live.
12,
look,
12, almost 30.
Oh,
yeah.
YouTube notifications, all of them Grizzly Bigfoot.
Yes,
but it is absolutely live.
Okay.
I'm in the north of England.
I'm in the southwest of England.
And and where are you from? So thank you, Steve, for joining us. We're going to have to finish. Should we do another one about this? Because it's such a good topic.
I think it's a great chat. We can do part 2. Because I love it. And I think it's a really good time to think about it. You know, we're going to go, aren't we? But it's like dark moon, new moon. What a great time to do a bit of clearing out and putting in new intentions for that clearing and for protection.
The new moon in Pisces. So the new moon in Pisces is illusion, delusion, psychism, the use of your esoteric gifts. And the new moon in Pisces can really be an open door for all sorts of to, you know, come from the other side. So you want to be prepared.
And way as well. One way.
Both of them. Amazing. Oh, it was so fun to catch up. Thank you.
You too. See you next week.
Amazing. Oh, wait. Yeah, I found how to do the next week. Bye.
Okay. Bye. See you later. Bye.